Hello my crazies, my name's Angela and I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady. So for the last week or so I've had a couple of commissions come in, which is why I've not made as many videos as I have in previous weeks. It's a case of if a commission comes in, you just got to do it, haven't you? So my first one was for a very good friend of mine. Her daughter has just had a beautiful, he's absolutely stunning little baby boy. So I've made this blanket. Now the mum had asked for one without holes in, so rather than doing something a bit lighter, I ended up having to do the basic double crochet for the majority of it, and then she also wanted the little man's name on it. So I've had a look around and I found a couple of videos showing how to do the puff stitch, which I've already done previously, but I didn't just want a plain puff stitch that used the same colour throughout. I wanted it to be bold and I wanted it to jump out. So I managed to find a video that showed you how to change your yarn midway through, which meant on that section that the name is on, you actually run your second colour along with the rest of the project, so you crochet over the top of it until you get to this stitch that you want. So my first attempt I was very proud of until I held it up and it went like that, because what I'd done was I'd pulled the white that I used, which was my second colour, I'd pulled that too tight as I was making it, so it meant that the whole project went inwards. But luckily that was just my test section, that wasn't the main part of the project. So with this blanket it's worked from the bottom up, then it has the name added, and then a couple more rows on top of the same stitch as the base section. Now I like it, Nanny likes it, and I'm hoping to get a message sometime today from the new mummy, and I'm hoping that she really likes it too. So I'll pop a picture in now to show you what I've got. Hopefully I'll get some nicer pictures from the mum at some point. So cute, isn't it? Right, so for my next one, after that I decided I was just going to do what I call yarn doodling, which is where you just sit there and you don't know what you're going to come out with. Basically all I knew was that I had some yarn that I wanted to use up, and I only had a few balls of it. So the yarn that I wanted to use was the Velvet by Papaya. Now I've not worked with a velvet yarn before, so I didn't really know what to expect. I've seen what projects look like, but I don't think they've ever looked this crazy. Now I've ended up making a teddy bear, but so I think he's really quite cute and strangely crazy. So you ready for your laugh? There he is. He's only little, but I thought I'd put him up to camera. He's actually got a proper little mouth there as well. I just haven't worked out whether to put a tongue or anything in. And on top of that, I'll probably end up taking the hair off, because when I first started making him, I just started on the head and I didn't know what I was making. So it was a case of, I thought it might be a skunk, I thought it might be a hedgehog. In the end he turned into a bear. So of course now his hair's a bit strange, but to be honest it does remind me of a cartoon character when I was a kid, but for the life of me I cannot remember the cartoon. So if any of you got any ideas about teddy bears, I think it was just teddy bears, but they had these really crazy hairstyles that sort of came over sort of their face slightly, stick it in below, down below, because it'd be nice to go for a little trip on memory lane today. And my last project is another commission project. I had a lovely couple contact me a couple of days ago now, and ask if I'd seen the teddy bears that people seem to be making for the NHS nurses and doctors and everybody else. Now, I had seen them, but I wasn't really going to make any because I've got a friend who makes them as well, so I thought, well, she can do it. I'll do other stuff. Well, they sort of said to me, look, we know you can do it, so is there any chance you can make one for a friend of ours who's also a nurse? So here's my little version. I'm loving the face without the mask though, and I'm not very good normally at doing faces. So it's just a case of, do I put a little bit of white in for the reflection on the eye, or do I just leave her as she is? Now, you've probably spotted there's something in the pocket here. And what I've done is I've made a little miniature heart, which is exactly the same pattern as the keyring that I put up about a week and a half ago. So it's exactly the same pattern, but I've just had to downsize the needle, downsize my hook to a 2, I believe I'd done it in. Still with the DK yarn, it was just extremely tight, which makes it bulky, but it's still the keyring, so it's still 2 sides and then crochet them together. But I thought that looks really cute because our little nurse is taking our heart with her. So let's pop her mask back down. There you go. Right. Oh, and she's got a little tail. Can't forget the tails. Right, so before those 2 commissions came in, I'd been working on my key rings. The heart-shaped ones that I'm hoping to donate to my local hospital or somewhere. I've had a bit of a thought about that, but I need to check it out before I say anything. So I've made one green one. Sorry, they're not going to show up too well because of the packaging, but you've got a green one. You've got one made in the velvet yarn. Now, I was going to make them all in that because it's extra soft and squidgy, but I noticed it threaded a little bit at the ends and it was an absolute nightmare to sew in, so because I was using such a tight stitch. So I only made the one set of those. I had a couple of odd pink ones and a couple of odd green ones and a couple of odd purple ones. So I've got like one of them, not 2. So at the moment I'm just going through any small amounts of yarn I have in the hopes that I can make 2 out of those. But in total, including a lot of simple plain red ones just made with normal DK, I've got 11 sets. But as I might have said in the video, I can't quite remember. Although I'll be donating them, I really don't want them to be used because then that means there's a family that needed them. But yeah, I've got those 10 done as well. Let's just put them there. And here's a sneak peek for you. Another idea that I've used that's that I'm making, that's just the basic of the unicorn pillow. It's a more laddie type pillow. So once I've worked it all out, then I'll get to it and make you the video. But I will be honest, I am going to cheat. I'm just going to tell you how much of the unicorn video you need to follow, like the first section, because I don't see the point in remaking it just in another colour, not when we can get away with just replaying the same one. Right, so let's get on with the next one. Right, so my next item was just something that I wanted to use some of that green that I purchased from Aldi's the other week. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go simple. I'm going to make a blanket, and I decided I was going to do a C2C because the quick, the simple, and once you get your brain around it, you can sit there and do it whilst watching telly. So sorry, I'm just trying to get the hook out and the extra bit of wool. Now with this one I decided that doing it with a single strand was going to take forever, so I've actually doubled up my strands, even rolled them into little balls all doubled up, and then I also ran the purple that I'd picked up, which was the Aran weight yarn. So I'm mixing an Aran and a DK. So, but what I've also done is doubled up on the Aran as well, because I noticed with the DK there was too much of a gap between the stitches, because I wasn't going down on hook size. I was literally just using the same hook and just carried on going. Now this isn't finished because I'm a bit undecided what I was doing, whether it was going to be a little blanket for like a cot, or a pram blanket, a cot blanket. At one point I thought maybe it could be a runner for this bed. Then I thought, well, maybe it could be just to cover this bed completely. Then it was like, oh, do I put it on the king? And my husband said, you are not putting anything crocheted on the bed, like on our bed, because that's just too girly. I even offered to do a like picture one with Groot on it, and he still said no. It's just so boring. Well, anyway, here it is. Oh, cracky. It's quite a nice stripe. I'm liking the colour combination on it. It's just a bit long to, a bit wide, sorry, to get it into frame properly. But I'm now up to the point where I've started to go down the sides now. So this is it now. This is going to be its full length. So it's basically a cot blanket, but it's going to be a really chunky one for someone that's got no heating and it's the middle of winter. So I thought you'd like to see that one. Alright, so that at the moment is all that I've made this week that I'm able to show you. If you can think of anything else I might have a go at, pop it down below. Now, an upcoming video I do want to do is one that tells you a bit about me, and I'm thinking maybe a 20 questions version. So if you could pop a question down below that you would like me to answer, if it's appropriate, I will answer it and pop it up in my next video, where I will plan to do all that. Right, so I'm going to head off now because I'm going to carry on with that C2C blanket. So stay safe everybody, stay in if you can, and stay crazy. Ta-ra for now.